After the war, London was still suffering from the ravaging effects. The museum charts the emergence of a truly cultural city. Whilst the Blitz of London in the Second World War left the city badly damaged and over 100,000 people homeless, the rise of the welfare state saw efforts to improve housing and reduce inequalities in healthcare and education. In 1951, the Festival of Britain on London's South Bank also attempted to lift the spirits of Londoners. The city became more multicultural with a surge in immigration from various parts of the world, and the landscape was forever altered by high-rise flats, a trend that is now being reversed. A booming London was at the heart of the swinging 60s, but was soon to feel the effects of the economic decline in the 1970s, which resulted in the demolition of some very important historical buildings. One such building, although now demolished, was the Firestone factory. But the large gates can still be seen here at the museum. The building was designed by Wallace Gilbert and Partners, and they were famous for their eye-catching designs. Unfortunately, in February 1980, the Firestone tyre factory closed its gates and 1,500 people lost their jobs. During the August bank holiday weekend of that year, the Department of Environment decided to spot list the factory to save it from demolition. But as it was a bank holiday, nobody could be found to sign the papers. Unfortunately, on Saturday the 23rd of August, that building was demolished. The City of London was transformed again in the 1980s, but just as before, the wealth generated was unevenly distributed, and the period saw social and racial unrest. The museum has a fantastic model on display called the Ghetto, and it symbolises a great change in the city during the 90s. It is a model of two streets in Hackney, London. It was lived in by squatters, artists and families. Hackney Council wanted to demolish these houses. And by the museum acquiring this model, the publicity it provoked saved the houses from demolition. A community organisation now runs these houses locally. London hosted a hugely successful Olympics in 2012, and its legacy lives on. The Cauldron was the centrepiece of the London 2012 Olympic Games. The Games reinforced London as a cultural and global force.
We're very lucky here at the Museum of London to have the original cauldron from the 2012 London Olympic Games. When Thomas Heatherwick got the commission for the cauldron, it was really Danny Boyle who was very keen to, I think, to secure him. Heatherwick's one of the most creative living designers, I think, in the world, and his team came up with this fantastic design of a sort of like a petal-like, plant-like form. They had to keep very hush-hush because they didn't want the secret to get out. One of the interesting things is that when he was given the commission, one of the things they said had no moving parts because on a previous Olympic Games the mechanism had failed. They came up with this design which did need moving parts. So there was quite a lot of risk element in terms of the design. The 2012 cauldron was built up near Harrogate. It was assembled over a long period of time, and each individual petal is unique. It has a different form. And here in the museum we have on display some of the original wooden moulds that actually made the petals. Now, one of the unique elements of the cauldron is the way that it functions, the way that it lights up and then moves. And if you were at the Olympic opening ceremony or watching it on television, you heard a sort of gasp of awe as the cauldron began to lift up, and it was just an amazing experience. And I think There was so much riding on this opening ceremony, and the cauldron really just was, it was just an incredible tour de force that really established the London Games.